Thursday evening in Paris. Welcome to Roland-Garros on a day of sunshine and showers and top-class tennis as the second round comes to a close. You're watching live at Roland-Garros, and here for you is what is coming up on tonight's show. Ostapenko turns the clocks back to 2017. Djokovic cruises to 70 Roland-Garros wins. And Muguruza on what's keeping her busy. We're with you every night from 7 o'clock, and you can find Live at Roland-Garros across all the official Roland-Garros social channels. And I'm very happy to say that with me this evening in the studio, Daniela Hanzikova, and back with us, making a special guest appearance, Fabrice Santoro.
Bonsoir Gigi, bonsoir Daniela.
It's lovely to have. How busy have you been? How have you been keeping busy?
Well, obviously very busy. I mean, he didn't show up for today.
I was
thought
busy.
You have forgotten us.
No, not at all. I follow you. But I was in the commentary box on Center Court doing a couple of matches, long matches we had, especially last night between Zverev and Herbert.
Because you've been doing a mix of the encore interviews and commentary.
Exactly. I'm doing this since a couple of years, and it's nice pleasure for me to be in the commentary box. And going on court after the match point is something very special, something not easy at all, but I try my best.
Now, for the moment of the day, it had to be the sunshine. I've dressed for the sun. It's a little bit chilly now, but it was shining down on the court. It was up in the sky. It was just a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It was suddenly a completely different energy around Roland-Garros, and I'm sure all the players appreciated it as well, because whenever we see sun out there, I'm sure Fabrice is going to agree with that. It's just so cool and so much more fun to play.
Yeah, it's completely different. It was, as you said, it was a pleasure to see the sun on center court. You can see also the shadow near the net, which is not great to play tennis in this condition. But the new center court has been built for a tournament in May, June, not in September, October.
Yeah, I think that's very important to remember, that this is very unique that Roland-Garros is happening at the time it is. There is tennis taking place, as always, when you join us each night. But for this evening, as we join Eli, you're not starting on Philippe Chatrier. There is a match on there, but the original schedule went very quickly. So where do we find you this evening?
We are on court Simone Mathieu, the lovely court Simone Mathieu, where there are some fans here all over the court. It's actually a nice atmosphere. The sky is clear above my head, still blue, and behind me on court, Andrei Rublev. You're the one you like, Gigi, we know that. He was down a break in the first set. Remember, you looked worried in the office earlier today. He's now up 2-0 over Davidovich Fokina, a character also on the other side of the net, the Spaniard, Swedish mother, Russian father, full of shenanigans, always talking, hits the ball also very hard, not quite as hard as Rublev. Nobody really does, but Davidovich Fokina is ranked number 70 in the world, Rublev number 12. He just came off a win in Hamburg. He's the recent winner in Hamburg, so he's got a lot of confidence. Remember, he came back from 2-0 to win his first round. But the little something, Davidovich Fokina has white socks and black socks at the same time. Maybe that's the little je ne sais quoi that'll pull him through. It ain't working well for him right now.
Eli, let me ask you about the weather. You wrapped up on your jacket out there. We've been talking about the sunshine all day, but temperature-wise, what are conditions and the temperature like?
It's chilly. It's comfortable, but not too long. So if you're playing tennis, you're fine. If you're sitting in the stands, you better put a sweater on.
Okay, well, you better run off to another court to get the blood flowing and to get warm. We're going to be back with Eli a little bit later because we have an awful lot of matches to get through. And we're going to start with our match of the day. And that featured the second seed, Karolina Pliskova, taking on the 2017 champion in Jelena Ostapenko. And this was a match, Daniela, that we highlighted on the schedule that could be a potential upset.
Yeah, absolutely so. And it was great to see Jelena playing so well. You know, after 2017, she couldn't really find her rhythm and form in this tournament because she was just feeling so much pressure. But now she's starting with a fresh start. Also a new coach, Thomas Hochstedt, which is one of the most experienced coaches we've got out there. And suddenly right away you feel like she's walking around the court with just so much more confident. Also, you know, when she did the press afterwards, there's a different attitude, definitely. And she was intense right from the start and definitely deserved that win.
Yes, very, very good match from Jelena. I mean, she's only 23 years old. And as you said, she won the title here 3 years ago. And I think the conditions are pretty good for her because she's a very aggressive player. She can hit a lot of winner even when it's moody and humid and slow. But 27 winners today against Pliskova, but she didn't make a lot of enforced errors.
And one of her strengths really is how well she can take the time away from her opponents, because especially on the return, she can hit the ball on the rise, and it just almost feels like you are rushed when you are on this other side of the court.
And she said, Daniela, that she's looking for consistency. She said, I just need a little bit of consistency to regain that form that I had.
Yeah, and I think it's something when you work with Thomas Hofstede, you're going to get, because he's all about that. He's all about work ethic, disciplined. You know, he worked with Maria Sharapova, and it's a very similar mentality coming from Eastern Europe for Jelena as well. So I think that's going to work out for her, and we're going to see great results coming.
43 in the world, Jelena Ostapenko. She has defeated Karolina Pliskova, and she was pretty happy when she spoke after the match.
I mean, in the beginning it was tough. I mean, she was serving very well, and I just knew before the match that I have to serve well as well and just be aggressive when I can and not miss many balls. I mean, obviously she's number 2, she's a great player, so I knew it's going to be tough. And I was just trying to focus and try to play aggressive but not miss so many, because, I mean, obviously I needed to bring one of the best tennis I can play to beat her.
To the rest of the matches, the ones we picked out for our highlights for today, and Fabrice will start with Novak Djokovic, who was looking for win number 70 at Roland-Garros this afternoon.
Easy day at the office for Novak Djokovic. He was playing so good, hitting the ball well, like in the first round against Ymer. From the beginning, after 2-3 games, we understood that this match would be like a routine match for Novak. And what he said after the match is clearly his feeling. He's healthy, he hit the ball well. The only thing he has to do is just to keep the rhythm.
And the scary thing is, I feel like, I don't know what you think, Fabrice, but that he could still play, 3-4 levels better. That it almost felt like, with all my respect to Berankis, it's almost like a practice match where he was trying out different things to be ready for later in the tournament.
Yeah, and the only thing I can mention during this match was pretty new for me is Novak tried to return from 3-4 meters behind the baseline, which is new. Normally he's on the line or 1 meter behind, and he moved back like Thiem or Nadal. This is something new. He's trying to mix it up, and it works pretty well today.
It was also a good day at the office for Petra Kvitova with a straight sets win.
Yeah, absolutely, very impressive. And you know how much I love Petra. She's so good for women's tennis, super humbled, given her superstar status back in Czech Republic. And these conditions, again, I think are going to favor her, because she hits such a heavy ball and has a beautiful drop shot as well, and that huge lefty serve. So she's going to be more and more dangerous as we go on.
Semi-finalist in 2012, she missed last year through injury, but Petra Kvitova picks up her 25th win here. She's through to round 3, but not to be, Fabrice, for Denis Shapovalov.
And he had many occasions to close the match. We see a couple of points during this big and long battle. I mean, long battle, because when they played 3 matches on court Chatrier, they didn't finish even one on court Suzanne Lenglen. In 30 years in Roland-Garros, it's the first time I see that.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I never saw that before.
But given how long they played out there, they actually didn't look as tired as we sometimes can see after 5 hours. Players are really exhausted. So it just shows both of them how fit they are. And I just felt like towards the end, Roberto maybe wanted it a little bit more than Denis. Nothing to take away that Denis was fighting till the end. And as you said, he had so many chances in that 5th set.
Well, there you go. There's the reaction from the world number 101 through to his first Grand Slam 3rd round. 109 tour-level matches for the Spaniard. 80 of them have been on clay, but I'm sure that this one was the sweetest. Sofia Kenin. That was tough against Anna Bogdan out there today, Daniela.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a great quality match from both girls. And one thing that Kenin does so well, she can adapt and she can change throughout the match. And that's what she had to do today, because she was a completely different player at the start of the match. And towards the end, she really needed to pick up her levels, because I was very impressed with Bogdan. She was doing all the right things there in the 1st set.
Yeah, Bogdan is one of the 7th Romanian girl in the main draw here. I mean, taking the inspiration from Simona Halep, of course. But finally she lost, and Kenin did what she used to do on every match, fighting a lot. It doesn't matter if she plays well or not. She's just fighting and trying to find solution.
But it was interesting, her attitude, because towards the end, a couple of times when she won the point, we almost thought she lost it because of her attitude and reaction.
Very negative.
Yes, we saw that in the first match. So I just feel like that's something she will need to change if she really wants to go deep into the tournament, because you're just wasting so much mental energy like that.
Oh, she looked furious for most of the match. Even when she won the match, she looked furious. If you just switched on, you thought, oh, she lost. She won.
She won.
She won.
And even on the court during the interview, she was under pressure.
Stefanos Tsitsipas, I think the best thing about this victory, Daniela, for Stefanos Tsitsipas was following his grueling 5-set battle, his first 5-set match in the first round. This one was straightforward.
Well, we haven't seen that for a while from Stefanos, and I don't know what about you guys, but we all thought that Cuevas, that was going to be a long match, and I think he surprised us in a very nice way, being on the court for less than an hour and a half. So this got to give him so much confidence, and obviously also saved a lot of energy after recovering from that previous match.
It was an hour and 28 minutes, the fastest completed Grand Slam match for Stefanos Tsitsipas, who is the 5th seed. So I think he will have just been happy to get this done, get off the court and continue recovering and get himself ready for round 3. Gregor Dimitrov, he's the 18th seed, Fabrice, and I don't feel that anybody is talking about Gregor Dimitrov.
It could be a good sign. Sometimes it's not bad to be a little bit on the side. People forget you, but we know how good is Gregor and how nice he is also, because he's a great person of the court also, and I'm always happy when Gregor is winning matches.
Yeah, but I always feel like as soon as we start to talk about him, that's when he starts to lose again. So it's maybe better just to mention his score, he got through, that's it, and not really put any pressure on him, because like you said, one of the nicest guys as well, and it's so good for the game.
Okay, so I think we've got to stop talking about him now and just move on from this. But I will say it was a quarterfinalist of Rome, lost to Denis Shapovalov, who's been putting a little bit of form together on the clay. So maybe watch out for him. Arina Sabalenka against Derek Kasatkina. The first thing, Daniela, you said to me, it's surprising to see Kasatkina even here after what happened in Rome.
Well, not only even here, but actually getting through the first round. I mean, when we saw what happened to her in Rome, you're thinking, okay, that's at least 2 months out. So she's done so well with the recovery. And that first set was huge. And after that, you just felt like maybe she didn't want to put as much pressure on that ankle. But what a great effort for her to be in the second round of a slam after what we saw in Rome.
It's her first Grand Slam third round appearance here at Roland-Garros. It's her 12th Grand Slam main draw appearance. Still just 22 years of age, Arina Sabalenka.
And she has the power in those conditions. I mean, she can hurt anybody. And the only question for Arina is how many winners and how many unforced errors, because sometimes she can play alone.
Yeah, that's a difficulty thing with Arina Sabalenka. So Sabalenka goes through. She is the 8th seed in this competition. Another one we're not really mentioning, as we've said, that sometimes perhaps it's a good thing, wrapped up a little bit for the weather, because as we said today, it was a mix of sunshine and showers with the roof on for the start of Philippe Chatrier. Karen Khachanov beat Yuri Vesely. He's the 15th seed. Not a lot of form for the Russian coming into Roland-Garros, but again, he's another one of those players, Daniela, who's just going through under the radar.
Yeah, and I think just like Grigor Dimitrov, he likes that we are not talking about him just yet too much. Again, he hits a heavy ball, so obviously those players are going to be the favorites. Even though, the conditions might change, we might see a little bit more sun. Let's see how that's going to affect who's going to be going through the tournament.
Sure, Karen is a great player, very powerful, and he played a long battle on Long Lane last year and winning a tough match. And he loves Paris. Remember when he won Paris-Bercy on the east side of the capital?
Yeah, he certainly does. Will that bode well for the Russian? Well, we will find out as Karen Khachanov goes through. We know that Andrei Rublev is in action, and we know that Daniil Medvedev has already lost. Another match that's in action now, this was moved to Philippe Chatrier because they completed the schedule, involves a home player in Fiona Ferro taking on Rybakina. A few people have tipped Rybakina as a dark horse, but she has a long way to go, because we can see now that Fiona Ferro has taken the first set against Rybakina on Philippe Chatrier.
Yeah, I'm such a huge fan of Ferro game. I mean, she can pretty much do everything out there. She's got so many options, and it's easy power, beautiful touch as well. So like you said, Gigi, Rybakina has got a long way to go if she wants to turn this match around.
Yeah, well played for Fiona Ferro, who's taking it in her stride, being out there on Philippe Chatrier. We'll keep you up to date with things happen, if we get any more set points, if we have any matches concluded during our time on air. But at this part of the show, it's time to find out what the eye of Daniela is this evening. What have you seen, what have you gone for, and why?
Well, I don't know if you guys realized, but this is the first time in history that we are playing a Grand Slam in October. So happy 1st
You're right.
October.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very special. And I think a lot of players have been enjoying it. Obviously, the hard and heavy conditions sometimes can be tricky during the matches. But still, you know, looking at Petra Instagram and a lot of other players, how much they enjoying their coffee. Okay, they have a little bit more on themselves as far as the clothing goes. But I keep saying, you know, Paris, any time of the year, is just as beautiful. So it is really special to be part of this history.
It is crazy, isn't it, Fabrice, that we're here, it's a Grand Slam, and it's October.
Yes, it's a unique situation. Hopefully the next edition in 2021 will be in May, June, like normally. But it's very special. I mean, the forecast has been pretty tough with the tournament in the last few days, but it's a lot of fun to be there and to be able to organize this tournament.
And it's also so nice to see the appreciation from the players. Like we said, there's been so many changes, and of course, changing from hardcore to clay, not really having too much time, especially for the top players, must be so much harder mentally going into the slam where you want to be the favorite, but you have to accept so many things. But yet they just appreciate that we've got live tennis and that we can be here in Paris.
Now, we just saw another picture of a player with the Eiffel Tower in the background. I think that has to be the most common shot on social media throughout Roland-Garros. So I'm going to wonder if it's going to feature in this evening's edition of RG Stories. Good evening to Alex. Alex, does the Eiffel Tower feature in your social media section this evening?
Oh, I'm really disappointed to say it doesn't. But bonsoir everyone in the studio. It's been another cracking day of tennis so far, and the social media has been no different. First up, Gregor Dimitrov had very few problems coming through his into the third round. However, the 18th seed had more trouble getting changed out of his tracksuit. We've all been there, right? But Dimitrov has been a semi-finalist in the other three majors, but not here. So back in the studio, is that possible for Gregor?
Does that happen to either of you guys on court?
Yeah, it does, because you're just so lazy to take that shoe off. We can totally understand with Fabrice, right?
Oh, what a tough situation. Like he's going to...
Yeah,
He's
but
going for the toss with his pants.
If he takes the shoe out, he would be already done. But yeah, sometimes we are lazy as tennis players, as you could see right there.
I think Alex, I think we've all suffered that kind of thing. We just don't want to take the shoes off. We put the shoes on, the shoes are staying on. We're going to get those trousers off somehow.
Yeah, I've definitely had that. Maybe not at the Grand Slam level, though. So I am a fan of my art, and I'm a fan of the tennis. So check this out. Artist Andre Bella makes them custom rackets. So this is obviously US Open champ Dominic Thiem, twice-time finalist here as well. So question for the studio, who would you like as a custom racket on your wall?
Fabrice, would you put yourself on your racket, or would you choose someone else?
I was just thinking it would be cool to have ourselves, wouldn't
No.
it?
Who would you have if you could have one of those?
Daniela.
Oh, come on.
You don't have to say Fabrice on yours.
Well, I have to after that answer.
No,
Well,
feel free, Daniela.
We are in Paris, so of course, winning the mixed doubles.
Okay, Alex, we're going to move on quickly. What have you got next for me, please?
We're moving on quickly, very quickly. World number one, Novak Djokovic, once again motored through his match. But from his Instagram, here's Novak clearly enjoying himself on the turf. Maybe he's missing Wimbledon. No, don't worry, he's happy here in Paris. A 70th Roland-Garros win today, matching the same number as Roger Federer. So the thoughts in the studio, who is the better clay player, Novak now or peak Roger?
Oh, there's a question. Novak now or peak Roger, the better clay court player? Oh, look, they're speechless, Alex. They're speechless.
Well, because I'm still thinking about that Instagram, because it's not only the grass he put, but then also a quote from Carl Jung that I really like. So whoever hasn't seen it, go and check it out because it's so true.
Yes, and also it's very important also this Instagram, as you mentioned, because we know Novak is very close to the nature. He loves the trees, he loves to go and walk in the forest. But because of the bubble, he's not allowed to go anywhere else than in Roland-Garros or in his hotel. And he had this little tiny grass
Just a strip of grass,
yes,
really.
in the Stade Jean-Bouin where he's going to practice in the day off, and he was happy to post
And
it.
I also love how Novak always makes sure that he reminds people that follow him how important it is to stay close to the nature, no matter how much attention you've got on your shoulders and what are you trying to do in your professional life, to always come back to yourself. And that's the easiest thing to do when you are in the nature, and look for the answers within. So I think that's why it's so cool to follow Novak on Instagram.
And very cleverly, both my guests avoided answering the question. Did you notice that? Right, back to Eli. Feel free to answer the question if you'd like to. Where have you got yourself, and have you warmed up a little bit?
I am on court Philippe Chatrier where the action is kicking, and Fiona Ferro is up 6-3, 2-1. This is an upset. But I'll just give you a little bit of insight on Fiona Ferro. She was part of the winning team in Fed Cup that went to win in Australia and then came back. That was kind of a very lifting moment for her career. Then there was lockdown, and during lockdown, Fiona Ferro was living in a house in Valbonne in the south of France, and she was living there with her brother. Her boyfriend was there, and they have a tennis court in the backyard. And during entire lockdown, Fiona Ferro was playing tennis every single day with guys that play very, very well. She came out of lockdown in great shape, great form, and she actually won her first tournament, her maiden tournament on the tour level in Palermo early August. Got injured a little bit, and that's why she didn't go to New York. That's why she didn't play since. But she is very, very much on fire. And the way things are going now, Fiona Ferro should pull through to the second round. You heard it here first.
Eli, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll be back with Eli before the end of the show. But it's time now for our question of the day. So here we go. Is the underarm serve disrespectful? Who would like to go first? And is it a yes or a no? Daniela?
Ladies first.
Well, I say yes by 51% and no by 49%. So I'm going to agree whatever is going to be told, that it depends on the situation. So if you're trying to use it tactically, that's absolutely correct. It is just because of the experience I had when I was growing up, and obviously there was that famous underarm serve from Michael Chang against Ivan Lendl. And from Ivan's reaction after the point, I assumed that, okay, that's just not what you're supposed to hit. And I was around, I don't know, 5, 6 years old. And it always stayed in my brain like, okay, Danny, you can never, ever do that because of those reactions. But then, interestingly enough, apparently, Ivan doesn't have a problem with that. He was more mad about that he lost the point. So only because of this, I go 51. Now, the other thing is, as a player, you have to watch out, because if you're trying to do that and imagine you miss that shot, I mean, that's got to be like the most embarrassing thing ever on a tennis court. So I go 51, yes, just because of that.
Me, I read the tennis rules recently. I didn't see that it was unrespectful to hit an underarm serve. So for me, you're completely allowed to play an underarm serve. It's not unrespectful.
Okay, well, let's get the thought of some players who we put this question to. Is it disrespectful to hit the underarm serve?
I don't really think so. I don't think it's disrespectful. I mean, of course, that the player has kind of different thoughts on it. It depends if it's like tactical or it's really like that, you know, the player can't move the arm that well or whatever it's happening. So, I mean, in my career, it's never happened to me, but I had a thought once, to be honest, because I couldn't serve. So I was thinking to put it like, you know, under armor, but yeah, it's difficult.
I saw what Nadal said about it, and I agree 100% with him. So I don't want to repeat his statement. If you see his statement, I agree every word he said.
No, if he's winning, it's a good tactic. If he's losing, it's a bad tactic. That's all. For example, today for Mackenzie, it was not a good tactic. But for Bublik, if that works, it's a good tactic. I don't say it's part of the game. I don't say disrespectful or not. If you do it with the goal to improve your game, or like a tactical thing, I support 100%. If you do for disrespect the opponent, it's not a good thing. So everybody knows internally if you are doing for in a good way or in a bad way. So for me, it's no discussion about that. It's part of the rules. You can do it 100%.
Fabrice, does it also take a certain type of personality to do the underarm serve?
Who's using this weapon? Bublik, Kyrgios, who else? Per did it a couple of times. this is kind of big character on the tour, right? So it looks strange to me sometimes. But once again, every player who uses the underarm serve does it to win the point, right?
Well, I love the Petra reaction because I'm sure 100% of the players had times on court where you're just having such a bad timing on your serve that you're thinking, okay, can I actually serve underarm? But it's very nice to see that Petra would think that because she's got one of the best serves. So it does, I think the thought came to all of us at some point, especially when there are those tight moments that you actually don't want to serve at all. Even underarm is like you just want to disappear where it's like a huge match point or something like that. But like you said, I think it takes a personality and braveness to be able to do that, because imagine if you miss that.
That brings me to another question one day we have to ask.
Okay.
When you are close to your opponent, close to the net, can you hit your opponent on a passing shot?
Oh, there could be a question of the day.
It's for tomorrow, no?
Okay, we'll keep that for another
Right, well,
day.
let's get the results of today's poll, and then we're going to move on to tomorrow's. So is it disrespectful to hit the underarm serve? You have been voting, and you say no. Now, Fabrice went no, but I believe our producer has awarded the point to Daniela. And look at that, she's leading. When you were last
She's
with
leading,
us...
but no break.
But when you were last with us, she didn't have
you
a
see?
point. Now she has 3.
She has 3.
Yeah,
Too good.
That's
okay.
Too good
That's what
partner.
happens. But at least we can see who was in charge when we played.
And we will confirm what tomorrow's question of the day is. Just keep an eye out on the official Twitter and Instagram accounts of Roland-Garros, and we will post that question for you so you can get voting on it. Now, with the players having maybe a little bit more time on their hands due to this situation and being either on site or at their hotel, we've been asking them how they've been keeping busy. And this evening, who's on the phone?
From the tour or normally?
Yeah, these days now, like.
Now with all my family, friends, like in normal times.
Oh, okay. Lately, I've been speaking a lot with my best friends and with my mother. My boyfriend? Yeah, because he's not here, so I'm talking to him.
Elena.
I would say at the moment, either with my son when he's not with me, or with my friend Eugenia.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time on my phone.
Who's the person you speak to most?
My wife.
It's my sister, definitely. It's every day, and here we stay in different hotels, but at home when we are in Prague we don't stay together anymore, but we just chat every time, we call when we can, and we having I have husband, she has boyfriend, so we don't spend that much time together anymore, but we just all the time on phone, and we are gossiping and just talking about everything possible.
Wow, what did we do before phones were invented? Now, time is against us, but we do have enough to check back in with Eli, who has once again covered the length and breadth of Roland-Garros.
Yeah, and here I have to whisper on Suzanne Lenglen court. We are literally so close to Matteo Berrettini right behind me. Matteo Berrettini up 6-4, and he's fighting off a break point against Lloyd Harris now in the second set. It's very impressive because of the emptiness of the stadium. When Matteo Berrettini slams the ball, it is violent, very violent. There's a very nice opposition of styles with the South African, but Berrettini, who just got broken, there's going to be a check of the mark. Maybe the chair umpire is not agreeing with the line, and it is, in fact, out, so it's break. Lloyd Harris is up a break 4-3 in the second set, down at first 6-4 here on court. Suzanne Lenglen.
Thank you, Eli. It's always nice to finish on a whispering Eli. Now, we're going to finish the show this evening with tomorrow's order of play, focusing on Philippe Chatrier and Suzanne Lenglen, then highlighting a match that is definitely worth not missing. So, Fabrice, you get to pick a match from court Philippe Chatrier for tomorrow.
First one. Clearly, it could be a big battle between two players playing great on clay. Norwegian Ruud has won many matches recently. He's young. It's same kind of game as Dominic Thiem, but Dominic's still a favorite, clearly.
Okay, and Suzanne Lenglen for you, Daniela, to pick out your match that people should keep an eye on.
I think definitely Sasha Zverev against Marco Cecchinato, who's done so well here a couple of years ago, and Sasha going through that incredible 5-set battle yesterday. I thought he did so well mentally, and it's going to be interesting how he's going to bounce back physically after that match.
Fabrice, we've enjoyed having you back with us. Hopefully, maybe you'll be back with us tomorrow.
Sure, hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. It was
Lovely.
a pleasure.
You've been watching live at Roland-Garros. You can join us every night from 7 p.m. as we round up everything that's going on and bring you live action during the course of the show. You can keep an eye on us across all the social media channels. But until next time, take care and enjoy the rest of the day wherever you are.